so that we can watch it and then we answer it.
Wow, that's an epic idea.
By the way, we have to take a selfie before we get out of here for the thumbnail.
Ah, yes. Good old thumbnails.
Yeah.
So anyways, Shubham was telling me, hey, he was rolling with, I can't remember who, but he was in bottom side control, and the person on top started applying like a heavy crossface, started putting a lot of top pressure.
Yeah.
And eventually, like, he started feeling like he was getting asphyxiated. These are not his words, but it sounded like the box was getting smaller and smaller for him, and then he just tapped. And he was asking me, he's like, has that ever happened to you? Like, have you ever had that experience where literally somebody from top side control, from their pressure, they ended up tapping you? And he was really describing like the pressure that he felt in his chest, and he felt like every time he took a breath, it started getting taken away from him when he felt more and more pressure. And then he just ended up tapping. And he was like, hey, what do you do in those scenarios?
He was in bottom half?
Bottom side.
Bottom side.
Yeah. So heavy crossface, heavy pressure from the top. And then he just literally tapped to the pressure. And he was like, has that ever happened to you?
I feel like the guy has to be like a lot bigger than you to be able to do that, no?
Mm-hmm. I think so too.
But Shubham's kind of a big guy. I don't know. I don't see who could possibly be doing that to him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have some thoughts. I'll give you first bat at it. Like, one, like, have you ever had that experience? And two, like, what advice would you give him?
Probably did, but maybe like early white belt. You know, like if you're not conditioned, like eventually you just get conditioned to having pressure on your chest or on your face and all that, and it becomes less of a big deal maybe. Like, so if you're a newer white belt, yeah, you might feel uncomfortable, or it hurts more because I don't know, like you're not used to it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like if he was bottom half and you're getting smushed and it's really uncomfortable that you think you're about to tap, I'd say like, could you like maybe give him a bit of space so that he can pass, and then you can try to like shrimp out and re-guard later, you know, to like relieve the pressure. I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that that's
you know, I just
greatest
felt
thing.
that it was so relevant because that is a really white belt situation.
Yeah.
Like, even you in your reply, you went back and you were like, hey, maybe at white belt that happened to me, where I was in that scenario and I tapped. And when he asked me that, I kind of went back into my memory bank to be like, hey, do I ever remember a time where I was in a situation like that, where I was just like, yo, this is crushing. And then you start obsessing over that thought where you're like, I'm getting crushed, I can't breathe, this sucks. And it's like your focus just gets more narrow and more narrow and more narrow, and you're just hyper focusing on, I can't breathe, this is hard, like, and then eventually you just kind of give up. And when he was asking that question, like when he brought it up, I kind of thought in the back of my mind that that's very similar to when you submit anybody. Like, there's a weird exchange when you apply a submission to somebody. Initially, you're kind of dealing with their whole body and their awareness. Let's say I'm applying a submission to you, Max. And like, as soon as, let's say I get, I don't know, a rear naked choke on you, as soon as I'm behind you, or a bow and arrow, as soon as I'm behind you and I start getting those grips,
Yeah.
your awareness kind of moves away from your whole body, and now you're hyper focused on your neck.
Yeah.
Like, you don't really know what's happening in your feet. You're not really aware about what's happening anywhere else. Like, your brain just becomes hyper focused on the part of you that I'm attacking. And ultimately, if I can get you so focused on that element that you just give up, where you're like, yo, I can't breathe, my neck is my this, or my arm is being extended in a way, you're only thinking about your elbow in that moment. You're not feeling your ankles, you're not feeling your legs, you're not feeling anything. You're just hyper focused on whatever I'm attacking, whether it be your ankle, your elbow, whatever it is. Your attention goes straight to that thing, and at one point your attention tells you, yo, we can't keep going.
Yeah.
It's gonna break, or I'm gonna pass out, or I'm gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
And in a weird way, what happens with Shubham from that top pressure, it's the same thing. He becomes hyper focused on the one thing that's being tightened, or that's being applied, where pressure is being applied. And then he can think of nothing else. And I think what happens when you become a higher belt is you develop the awareness to remember everything else.
Yeah.
And you don't allow the person who's applying the pressure to focus you solely on that. So you start thinking, hey,
Yeah,
what can I do to get out of
there might
here?
have been a frame available to him that he didn't see because he was focusing too much on the crushing. You know, maybe he would have been able to get his arms inside, or
Or
a
shrimp or
knee in, or
move,
shrimp, or
you
yeah,
know?
bump and
So
shrimp.
in a way, my response to
Yeah,
him would be like, in those moments, you actually need to expand your awareness. You can't let somebody from pressure allow your focus to get that, to steal a French word, point two. You can't allow that. You have to stay with the bigger picture. What's happening? Where is this guy's weight? You know, is he allowing me space at the hip level? Can I maybe shrimp out? Can I alleviate some of this pressure? But that's kind of like what it is to go through anxiety. It's like you're just hyper focused on this one element, and then it just builds to the point where you might lose yourself. And then,
was the person doing this to him also a white belt?
you know, I really don't know who did it to him, but I'm gonna assume just based on odds that yes.
Yeah.
Or no, you know who it was?
Ooh.
It was Diego. It was
Oh
Diego.
wow,
Yes, my bad. Purple belt.
Diego is
Yes.
kind of big.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
He's as big as Shubham, maybe a little bigger.
a bit bigger, yeah. I imagine that he could do that and also find a, you know, like a deep crossface. And yeah, but you know, also I saw our friend from Brigada,
Which friend?
coach's friend. You know who
Uh,
I'm talking about? Brazilian guy.
oh man, there's a bunch there. Is he?
He's bald. He's bald. He has a kid. He's a bit
Okay, I don't
brown,
think he's Brazilian, but I think his name is Mehdi.
but they talk Portuguese to each other.
No way.
Yeah,
I thought he was Arab.
for real.
Yeah, and his name is kind of Arab.
What's
But I
his
mean,
name?
could be Mehdi, Mehdi.
Could be.
Yeah.
He,
What's up with him?
he has a kid like in a
Yeah,
okay,
that's the
okay,
guy.
okay.
Bald, shaved, always
Yeah,
competes.
yeah, beard.
Beard.
Always competes.
Yeah, brown belt.
Dude, I saw him. I think you might have been there too, or maybe Rose was there. I saw him tap out another black belt or another, you know, advanced no gi guy with a crossface to the jaw.
Ouch.
So I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. You know, I
I get it.
I
You know,
guess it
anything is
happens.
yeah,
I guess it happens.
definitely. But one thing is for sure, at the higher levels, this doesn't happen. Like, sorry, at the higher levels, I mean, at the largest stages,
Yeah.
like I know at the worlds or at any kind of like this, not nobody's tapping the pressure. You know, it's just non-existent.
Yeah.
On the elite level, let's call it that. Maybe at the local tournaments, obviously, it's like, yeah, I got to go to work the next day. Do I really want my jaw to be practically broken? No. Is it worth it? No. Maybe I tap. Sure.
Yeah.
You know, but I still think there's something deep about Shubham's question, which is like this white belt thing that they have to get over the pressure of things, and they have to realize that it's not as bad as you think it is. Your body can actually withstand so much pressure. Yeah, he has a crossface, like, and it could be terrible. But for you to tap, for you to not be able to continue,
Man, it can also be a lesson to like, don't let that person get a crossface on you, and don't let him get that crossface that deep too. You know, I think the more jujitsu you practice, the more aware you are of that crossface coming, and you put your frame up
mitigate.
to stop it. You know, so
Yeah, so there's your answer, Bam. You got to be a little bit more proactive in terms of stopping these things, but also don't let your mind kind of get hyper focused on the torture of that scenario. You need to be expanding that. You need to start thinking about solutions. You need to be thinking, hey, what can I do to get myself out of this? Whether it be like proactively or once you're in it, there's a lot of things that you can do that can get you out of that scenario. But one thing is for sure, accepting the scenario is not one of them. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's how I feel about that, Max.
yeah. And you know, these things, you know, you tap the pressure, it's not the end of the world there.
Yeah, no, of course not. But
You don't have to start writing sad poetry or something,
ah,
unless you do.
I think I could write a poem.
Sad jujitsu poetry.
Oh man, that would be really sad.
That could be a genre.
I feel like I know 2 or 3 guys in this gym who could definitely bust that out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Anthony.
Am I one of them?
You're the second one.
Yeah,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
sure. Right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
I wonder if anybody. Oh my God, your viewership and your readership for that would be really low.